So Rinpoche would like to begin. Rinpoche said that today he will explain on a more easy level. It won't be so complicated. Before you were asking about the Kalachakra 6-session practice, and to recite this entire thing 6 times a day. It takes a lot of time. It's not very necessary to do it that extensively. You can do it once in the extensive full way, in which you think very well about all the meanings, and then you can do an abbreviated version for the other times. And so having explained about that at the previous meeting, then Rinpoche would like to speak just a little bit about the general meaning.
남아서 뭐예요? 뒤 타고 뒤 경고를 간다는 이제 초주상계나 전주수들 소비제가 무대기 같이 겹순 겹주 맞춰내지. 아니 뒤에서 차창을 삼는데 아니 강이 타고 그 요리를 순대나라는 도메인으로 지금 그저 인제 따도 그지 마리오 원의 레슨 코엔이야 코드를 시작이 딱 강력하고 가서 때도 되었지 말이지. 차부터 지금 도메인 나한테 텔레 파워 제를 치고 산제부터 추르고 겹수도 위니 대지도 다도 좀 산제 모터 지기 뒤집고 모터 지기 삼에 아니 야고 직접제 아니 신 산제로 없습니다.
So, in the beginning, as His Holiness was explaining today, before you can visualize the central figure, Kalachakra, surrounded by the various Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all the various objects of refuge without leaving out any. And this would be the object of refuge to which you are focusing, and also we imagine around that a beautiful, pure, a beautiful land, which is filled with all the different types of beings who are suffering, various creatures and so on. And we think of all the suffering that everybody has, and particularly the all-pervasive suffering of samsara that all beings are stuck in, and the difficulty of that and how that comes from their basic unawareness of reality. And with that type of compassion for them, and with strong belief in the 3 jewels of refuge, as incorporated by the objects of refuge before one, the Lama inseparable from the Buddha figure, then we begin with the recitation. Turn to the page. The very beginning here, from the Buddhism, my foremost empowering master, etc. So Rinpoche will now recite this, so think very well. Oh, I will read it. How much do you want me to read? That's it. That's so?
But it's same game. Some days over one job, but then that's the image. When you get in the rubber can just to the next which has got to do some number that between the
From the Buddhism, my foremost empowering master, the Dharma of uncleavable method and wisdom they show, and both Sangha divisions abiding in it, I pure-heartedly take safe direction. From this moment on, until I'm enlightened, I dedicate my heart with bodhicitta, heighten my resolve, and rid myself of conceiving of me or myself as possessors. We repeat that 3 times. From the Buddhism, my foremost empowering master, the Dharma of uncleavable method and wisdom they show, and both Sangha abiding in it, I pure-heartedly take safe direction. From this moment on, until I'm enlightened, I dedicate my heart to bodhicitta, heighten my resolve, and rid myself of conceiving of me or myself as possessor. From the Buddhas, my foremost empowering master, the Dharma of uncleavable method and wisdom they show, and both Sangha abiding in it, I pure-heartedly take safe direction. From this moment on, until I'm enlightened, I dedicate my heart to bodhicitta, heighten my resolve, and rid myself of conceiving of me or myself as possessor.
At he did Laya and Semesis, and some did the water to nether tower. There was any can never to there was 2,000 never. And in Nirin Chadan the Chade, Tanyumla, and 2,000 never said it was so careless Slavic. And then Naratan, Jave, sent a Tamaloya. David Yi, Masang Batika, Mindeba, Dunia Mindunaya, not David, so Kawani Chungsha, Chadani Tone, and Gang Technology. Tisi Chadani, Maranso Maji was sweating, Ganganti, said to Chumbaina, Ranshingi, the water Gambatana, and Kawata Gamati, to get the child, Charlie Avina, Yami Tanyo Gomber Gixin, Yabata Carlos, Chadani, the child, Tanyo Never. Very catching the Vesha, some direct near to Chicotone, that Semish, the Senjania told me, the Gone, and it's semi was she, tea, and turn, either to the Gone, and the lens of sometimes. Napoleon, Chitan somebody never showed somebody, the Kawako, never to somebody Tabasha, Tabato, Yula, never showed you, somebody, somebody Tabashan. Never to you, some got Parvalashan, you told me Yula and Semishko. Somebody never spoke. Semishko.
The next section is the meditation on the 4 immeasurables. And the 4 immeasurables are thinking in terms of all the various sentient beings around that we've been focusing on. May they be endowed with happiness, causes for happiness. May they be parted from suffering, causes for suffering, and may they achieve the everlasting happiness of liberation and enlightenment. And may they have the equanimity toward everyone is equal. If we think in terms of what causes their unhappiness and their problems, their suffering, because they lack equanimity, people are attached to some and repulsed and reject others, and they don't have this equanimity in which they have this balanced state of mind, which is equal toward everyone. And so from the depths of our hearts, we wish that everybody be able to have that type of equanimity forever, so that automatically what will happen is if they have that state of freedom from attachment and repulsion, then automatically they would be parted from suffering, and they would be endowed with happiness, and this would be everlasting. And so with the aim that all beings be able to achieve these states, then we say, with great sincerity and feeling from our hearts, we recite the 4 immeasurables. So we repeat. I shall meditate now that all beings be endowed with happiness, parted from grief, have the joy of remaining always blissfully aware, and equanimity toward everyone as equal. I shall meditate now that all beings be endowed with happiness, parted from grief, have the joy of remaining always blissfully aware, and equanimity towards everyone as equal. I shall meditate now that all beings be endowed with happiness, parted from grief, have the joy of remaining always blissfully aware, and equanimity towards everyone as equal.
Tatine, Tange Tane, Tidan, Mitsukabuti, Nilengetso, Kare, Chatu, Dane, and the Tubutu Lamin and the Gavutane, Ninguso, Chit, sometimes so correct, Lavina, Drukusi, Sibakawata, Shiva, Nyande Chochibo, Rani Chibushi to Niguloi, Shiva Chochibo, Humbegi, Nyarangla. Tizole, Jicole, Robert Cherry, Chiltu, Dagi, and the Sinja, 100 job of Sanji Motor, Chaya Chiduria, Patching to Lavia, Bilomo Lavia, Hagilam Lavia, Sherabulam Lavia, Lega Kanda, the Jugin Yameti, near Tamjasha Nanshi, Taniti, Senti, to Nambiamata, Sunyati, Ningu Sona City. Here are some of the Sustamjasha being that the position to go letters, job at 20 letters, Nimatirine Sude. She says, I am not talking about it. Ye saw the chair, saw the third, Tanya, Ninguin, some sometimes catch it, run it, and share me, some Tindichi. Dick then did the Shira catching the rest. Timandel on some Alania, some culture. And she named the position to the city. Tapi Susan Junior to go puzzle times, choose some European Junior, and Susan Jashaw.
The next verse is something very important and very important to think about before reciting, so that we're in the proper state of mind that goes with that. And this is thinking in terms of, again, all the suffering beings, and what we want to do is to be able to free them from the suffering that they have. This is the sufferings of samsara in general, and also the complacency of just staying in an arhat's nirvana as either a Shravaka or Pratyeka Buddha arhat, and to be stuck in that situation. And so thinking of the difficulties of all beings in these type of situations, then we have this very strong wish to achieve enlightenment, and from the very depth of our hearts we have this commitment and this promise that we make that we're not going to give that up. This is something that we really are going to do. And so this very strong resolve and promise and commitment that we make, we hold this as strongly as we would hold our life force. This is our life force. And thinking of that very strongly, then in the presence of the Kalachakra figure and all the deities of the Kalachakra Mandala, and the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that we've been imagining before us, then we recite this verse while making this very strong commitment or promise. So this is a very essential point and important to think about and generate that feeling strongly first before reciting the verse. From this moment on, until I'm a Buddha, I shall never give up till my life be the state, the attitude wishing to gain full enlightenment, in order to free from the fears of samsara and nirvana's complacency of all sentient beings.
Rani chigu shite tuni gloss na midu ran jinsi tile kyung te shen jinsi tile yonjin te be bone ta chuju sanje da chuju sungo kran na zeba chita wa shindu ye nimu trin ani chanju sembe ani sem tagi mo se tamje de sungo to ma se ta yase gi chobala na kra suma chi kala ya yi ye se chu gi nimu ti ni kra ni ta yase gi chobala sa be ni suma ti to ta tamje sha tamje shabsın mıydı? Di sen şukçumuz kendi da laman çocuğu sen de da tujuyor da çocuğu sen de dombatira naşici marang ya bir tuda tuğum ancak kalçı tabiyor ya bir namcan da mambu yuva kinde basti lar ya sor çüce yüzünde dombat bu tabi bu yok ya sen o tuda çece yüzünde tuda da şimdi
The previous verse that we just recited is for the promised or committed state of the aspiring, wishing state of bodhicitta. And the next stage is the involved state of bodhicitta, with which we actually involve ourselves in the bodhisattva practice by taking the bodhisattva vows. And so we look to the objects of refuge before us, Kalachakra, the deities of the Kalachakra Mandala, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and we think, how did you achieve this wonderful attainment that you achieved for being able to help all sentient beings? And the way that you were able to do that was by following the Bodhisattva path, by thinking in terms of love and compassion for all beings, with the extraordinary resolve of taking the full responsibility to help them as much as possible, and then developing the bodhicitta aim, this dedicated heart, to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all. And just as you did this type of practice, and practiced the various things on the side of method as well as on the side of discriminating awareness or wisdom, gained the understanding of voidness, practiced the 6 perfections or far-reaching attitudes, and so on, so likewise I shall do the same in order to achieve the same great attainment. And so with this verse, although we have taken the Bodhisattva vows already during the Kalachakra initiation, we renew them and refresh them once more with, again, this verse of going beyond just the promised state of wishing bodhicitta, but aspiring bodhicitta, but with the full involved state of bodhicitta of taking the bodhisattva vows, and that we will train ourselves through all the stages of the bodhisattva conduct to overcome cherishing ourselves, to develop cherishing of others through the practice of the 6 far-reaching attitudes or perfections based on love, compassion, this exceptional resolve, and bodhicitta. Then so. So we recite 3 times. O Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Gurus, please listen. Just as past Buddhas have developed bodhicitta and trained by stages through bodhisattva acts, I likewise develop bodhicitta to benefit beings and train my sages through bodhisattva acts. O Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Gurus, please listen. Just as past Buddhas have developed bodhicitta and trained my sages through bodhisattva acts, I likewise develop bodhicitta to benefit beings and train my sages through bodhisattva acts. O Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Gurus, please listen. Just as past Buddhas have developed bodhicitta and trained my sages through bodhisattva acts, I likewise develop bodhicitta to benefit beings and train my sages through bodhisattva acts. We all lead very, very busy lives in the West. We have many responsibilities, and it's difficult to find the time to do Kalachakra practice. But if we look at what's the most important feature of the entire practice, it's this promised state of aspiring bodhicitta and this engaged state of keeping the bodhisattva vows. And so in terms of this is something that no matter how busy we are, we should try to take a minute out at least to really focus on this. This is the real essence of the path, as His Holiness has been emphasizing. What we need really to put our stress on is this dedicated heart of bodhicitta and trying to gain a correct understanding of voidness. And we think in terms of the difficulties that all beings have. We think of the problems that they face, and it's not just the problems of pain and suffering, but which they undergo. But just like myself, they undergo much more deeper than that. They undergo the problem of uncontrollably recurring samsara, continuing this all-pervasive type of suffering. And as His Holiness was explaining today from the text by Tsongkhapa, that we, just like myself, everybody is in the same type of situation. We're all enshrouded in the darkness of our unawareness with which we grasp to the true existence of persons, the impossible existence of persons, and we are in the cage, the impossible existence of all phenomenon. We are caught in the cage of grasping for the impossible existence of persons, and in this situation we are tied by the fetters of karma and thrown into the river, in which we're carried along by the currents of the four really horrible, most horrible things, filled with problems: birth, sickness, old age, and death. And no matter who we are, without wanting to get sick, we get sick. Without wanting to grow old, we grow old. Without wanting to die, we all die. And this is an awful situation, and everybody is stuck in this terrible predicament. And so we develop a very warm affection and concern for others, and on that basis of our concern and caring love for others, if I don't do something about it, what is going to happen to them? And so on that basis, we think very, very strongly in terms of this promised, committed state of the aspiring bodhicitta. I'm not going to ever give it up. And this involved state with which we take the bodhisattva vows to actually engage ourselves in the bodhisattva behavior that will benefit them and bring us to enlightenment. So no matter how busy we are, we should try to take out from our busy lives at least a minute or a few minutes to really focus on this. This is the most essential feature.
가르레 슈베이나 달렌디 상야고 스탄정원에 지 그거 준비 지 참주 셈네 따로 쳐버지 나고치 충분히나 니워 너버도 곰도 세고 맞추고제 그 셔스 마tin 부스 영화 로샵스지만 변바이나야 디티고 친구 처를 너무 태좀해봐 디고 친구 처를 용해식 차려 가득하고 장주 셈다 주소리야 상야고 마담제 다 두저도 지단 지레 삼버체 아는 디오 어디야 지 지 파이쿠 지 차기 수시다 셰 수시다 지 두저 쇼지 베데 미고 때문에 쇼지 충분히 있느냐 디 남베 처 조다 만도 제가 디고 친구 처를 너무 태좀을 가르쳐 자 장주 있으면 두저 여고 좀 해. 하고 거기 치러봐요. 디가 하고 뭐 미고 세고 여러 잠시 디고 친구 처를 너무 해봐요. 근데 이님도 원에 중원 여기 초가 상마 tundu chogo tu chogo tiwa chi mu chö tungo chö drama to sing da ta ta le de tu da tinda ti chon ni ya en bo ya tu du se to sang chi ta de che chi chi tu de chi ne ki tin yo nyam do da sha yo chen yi ba de kar ba di ya mu sam tan de ni ta tundu de an su se la da du ye na le ha du ye na ka ba kare ji le ha du ye na 그 시작이 미션다 굳이요 미션다处理야 지지도 되게 중요한 소소소 센팅에 샘플이요 어떻게 아래 소소 미세 니머지기 미리야 제도 제야다 소소 샘플이라야 간쇼가 상황이 딱 쉬워 주는 이때는 이다 그거 좀 쳐도는 소소 미세 공부를 초대하는 템지
The most important part of the entire practice are these two verses concerning the promised state of wishing bodhicitta and the involved state of bodhicitta. If we do these really very well, with great sincerity and putting a great deal into effort into actually generating these states of mind, then the rest of the Kalachakra succession practice is really not so important. It's not so essential. We can sort of rush through it. And even if the visualizations are unclear, that really doesn't matter, because even with unclear, rushed visualization and practice of the rest of the text, the practice becomes a Buddhist practice. It becomes a Mahayana practice, a Bodhisattva practice, and this is what is most important and what has the greatest benefit and positive effect in our lives. Whereas on the other hand, if we're very sloppy and negligent with this part of the practice, then even if we're able to do a very clear and perfect visualization of the Kalachakra figure with all the arms and what they're holding and the colors and things like that, that this is no great accomplishment. Without the context of bodhicitta, it doesn't become a Buddhist and specifically a bodhisattva type of practice. To be able to visualize complicated deities is something that we find in some of the non-Buddhist Indian traditions, and so that's not going to get us terribly far. So the main thing that we want to emphasize in the Kalachakra practice is these verses concerning bodhicitta. If we do that, then anything else that we practice during the actual session, no matter what the quality of that might be, will become a bodhisattva training and be very helpful. Furthermore, it will be extremely helpful during the daytime, because then this is where we want to apply all of this in our daily conduct. And so we ourselves will act in a very polite and gentle and kind way with others, and in terms of how others treat us, even if they treat us very roughly and speak very badly and harshly to us, that we will not respond in an unpleasant way, but we will be able to tolerate that, deal with that in a compassionate and loving way. And in this way, this practice in the morning will benefit us throughout the entire day. So this is the main thing that we need to emphasize in our practice here, not the technical details of visualization, but feeling very sincerely from the depth of our hearts this bodhicitta commitment.
And the other level was that feeling to do this. You meet it when I turn out charge to do that and do this. That money, not miss some of the master, not much work, that's so much. Some of the master, we have some of the day I was that the Shinia, Johanna, she so chosen. The German could say the different Jordan to Tondinia, Pindegi, some Sanduti, when a Sanji is real. Just say Chandu Sindhi, the Sanji is chasing Sanji, that just said culture center, Chandu Sindhi, that seven. That not to Chandu, someone at the Gigaman, the teacher, 20 years, Lambadi 11 in that, one not Sanji is that never chair, PUBG, near Lamba Savati, that she, Nabuna, and the luxury to urge that, fetching out the never such. Today in that Sanjay says, I do Sunday, Sanjay give you so one Sanjay says, introduce some over there, that another introduce one at the chat we are in a Sanjay with a Roman, one at tiny Roman, pretty child, so later Sanjay says, I do this. So the hope of one and yet me, but in some chambers down, some boots down to it, catch him and get to drink. She would not give some money. Huh? You must rine, like Chinny, a reader to the letter, German to very good. No one in the better child. You must rine, and Chanjus and the Caracas, Shana never magic, Shana temper do ya, and Jobas Bunaya, or Tindeci, Chanjus and me. Today, yet unassuming, and Chanjus and the young man should know when she's done so I get up to the chicken, just deputation.
The next verses are fairly straightforward and simple. We are rejoicing in how wonderful this opportunity is to develop bodhicitta, to practice on the bodhisattva vows. Our life has become truly fruitful, as it says here, and we have awakened the Buddha family nature, the Buddha nature, with bodhicitta and that of the bodhisattvas. So we have actually awakened this family trait of bodhicitta, and this is the most wonderful thing that we could possibly do with our lives, and in every action possible we will try to bring that into our daily lives, and always act in accordance with this Buddha nature family trait, this bodhicitta and the bodhisattva conduct, and never do anything that would, in a sense, taint that bodhicitta motivation and the characteristics of bodhisattva conduct. So in interacting with others, we will be kind, we will speak kindly, we will act in all ways that as much as possible will benefit others. Although we haven't actually become bodhisattvas, although it says now we've become Buddha's spiritual child, that's referring to a bodhisattva, although we haven't become actual authentic bodhisattvas yet, nevertheless we are now very committed disciples or students of the Buddha's Mahayana path, and we're striving in that the tracks of bodhisattvas, and so in this sense we have taken literally, been born into the family of Buddhas.
Tati tunzen jigjob semje bodang dobon tunzen jigjob. tat tunzen saba karle gosi lama tuju ko. Ene kombe gone ana lama tuju ko. Chi cho, nang cho, sang cho, e kona ni cho ba ne le pia. Ana lama tuju ko ne ene ha so le. Ta sa ni ni ta na ni wang cho pia ba ti. Wang yu mu chu mo ne bo tanda la. Ani ni re shi. 가상님은 또 왕 쉬셔 대단한 신지 소소소소는 나 왕 지도 주야 지금다 왕 된다 왕 되고 왔어 쉬미 거치야 어디 가르쳐 그랬으나 왕 조 가르쳐 가상님 이제 시작해봤나시 아니 랑규 이다 함대월 시민고티 아니 누가 투제 산지 바들 우신 그걸 내가 투제인지 세프체야. 갑자기 왕스가 내가 랑랑 초반대인데 다들 자바를 죽는 왕 쉬셔지. 딱 다가는 시지 양에 양도 라마 듣고 있는 왕 쉬는 거 지기 있는 거 나네니까. 세프. 매드마시야. 양조 매드 슈처처 봐야 내기. 제가 같은 거 보면 왕이야. 아니 라마 듣고 소화돼야. 아니 라마 이게 일단 사라지.
This completes the first section of the practice, and then in the second section of the practice, while we are visualizing the Lama inseparable from Kalachakra, then we make the various offerings, the outer, inner, hidden, and thusness offerings. We offer the Mandala, and a mandala, and we also request and receive once more the Kalachakra. Yeah, we receive the empowerment, and with the empowerment, then we can go through like the 7 empowerments of entering like a child, the 4 higher and the 4 highest empowerments, and in this way what we're doing is further and further purification, so that we can achieve the 4 Buddha bodies, and as I explained previously, the main point of the empowerment is to awaken the potentials of the Buddha nature faculties that we all have, for achieving the 4 Buddha bodies, to activate them, awaken them, stimulate them further and further. And so by taking the empowerment similar to what we'll be doing in the next 2 days from His Holiness, by doing that again and again, it's ensuring that the flame of inspiration and the active state of these Buddha nature potentials doesn't die down and become weak, but that each day we refresh it, and each day gain more inspiration, and each day further activate those Buddha nature potentials, so that we can achieve enlightenment to benefit all. And in conjunction with that, we also make requests for further inspiration from the Guru inseparable from Kalachakra, and so on. This is this part of the practice. So, then to start this section, we meditate on voidness. This is something which His Holiness has been explaining quite extensively these last days. So we meditate according to His Holiness's and the Garjana's excellent explanations. We think in terms of first how we ourselves as persons arise dependently in terms of what can be mentally labeled. This is all that, the only thing that establishes our existence is in terms of what can be mentally labeled, that ourselves, we as persons cannot be found, or our existence cannot be established from our own sides, but can only be established dependently on what the names and labels and concepts refer to. And just as we ourselves lack this findable existence from our own sides, establishing that we exist by its own power, likewise, this is the same with all phenomena. Nothing has something on its own side that establishes its existence or makes its existence. Everything exists merely in terms of what names and labels refer to, what can be named or labeled. This refers to all appearances, all phenomenon of samsara, all of nirvana, pure and impure phenomenon, ourselves included. Nothing has true findable existence established from its own side. being established by its own power, independent of what can be mentally labeled. And so we think very deeply and carefully about how this true findably established existence is totally impossible. There is no such thing. That is what we focus on in terms of the understanding of voidness, this total absence. There's no such thing. And then within that state, we of that understanding and that absence of impossible ways of existing, then the appearance arises of the guru, inseparable from Kalachakra, so in the form of the simple one-faced, two-armed, two-legged Kalachakra figure with the motherly consort having a white left leg and red right leg, as is explained in the text. And on top of a throne supported by lions, with a lotus on top of the lotus, as it says in the text, a moon, and then on top of that a sun disk, and a Rahu disk, and then on top of that a Kalagni planet disk, standing on top of those, the guru inseparable from the couple Kalachakra in the simple form.
Mm-hmm. And eject.
Somebody want to work that? Lift it.
That he then that 초가나 세기도 왔어. 인류 통달인데 지금 턴 아이 통달인데 시고 또 진짜만 그냥 변도 하고 그랬어.
So the rest of that visualization is quite clear from just reading and reciting the rest of the text of this part. We didn't recite the 2 verses of rejoicing, so let's go back and recite those, and then recite the rest of the visualization. Now my life has become truly fruitful by having attained the human existence to declare born in the family of Buddhas, and now become the spiritual child. Now, in whatever way possible, I shall act in accord with this family, never causing disgrace to this noble clan that lacks any fault. Within a state of fantasy-free, clear-light Mahamudra, on the one half before me of the immortal divines, like a living multicolored display of rainbows, in the center of a billowing ocean of clouds of Samantabhadra offerings, on a throne of jewels held aloft by 8 breathtaking lions, on the face of an open 1,000-petaled lotus delighting the mind, on top of the holocaust of the moon, sun, Rahu, and the Kalagni planets, as a total amalgam with one of the many infinite masses of sources of safe direction as there are, inseparable from my kind Guru, stands the magnificent Bhagavan Kalachakra, imbued with the lustrous hue of the sapphire, blazing with brilliance, with one face and 2 arms holding Vajrayana. To symbolize the uncommon path of unity of method and wisdom, through a manner of appearances and being in union, with Vishwamata, saffron in color, holding a cleaver and a skull cup. With your right leg red and outstretched, with your left one white and bent, dancing on top of Amara and Rudra,
You are elegant with hundreds of artistic tones. Your body adorned with jewelry inspiring awe, like the vault of the heavens, beautifully studded with clusters of stars, stands amidst an effulgence of five-colored stainless light, exuding joy with three bodily points in the nature of the three Vajra deities, taking the form of letters begotten of light. Emanated from the seed syllable at your heart, Vajradega holding a bevy of fearsome weapons, focusing firmly a host of sources of directions, living in infinite pure land abodes, to become of an equal taste with you who are here to bond me closely. You now assume the learning nature of being, an amalgam of every sage and source of direction.
다 와장이 됐으니 두개 사별을 도지 슈스니 두고 타고 도지 슈디 간에 쪄버렸어 라고는 에네 랑게 소 아랑게 그랬지 랑게 두가네 아니 도지 슈스 파트 아니 라멘 다 소소 봄시하고 담지버래 들리야 아니 이시스마 그때 그 takshini doji shu janta ana rani komsha lama chi ko tela ziba le sheba ba yeme roji tin hot leji ani ronyam chi le ni chi ane tangone thane chabina susu komsha lama teliya yangjo chilo ne yangjo ishe sa de janta goya me ba de chires susu komba tang lama ta ba ta de chires ina ya na su thande thame be ji tension membership shamba de flora for tigi good to get my going to get us tamaram bomba imado no ne me samedi kundu shuru de fiji was to do shabi your today actually to that and the simsum sabai tam no ne lama be da ishi some ne de ta shuje da de chimati shi yo samdia so so tamegi ta de namdo de tamje de thon jiya so so le chi ta ba ya tabar yo be ta ta de je ma ta de en di cho de ji
in what we've just recited, what needs a little bit of explanation is, first of all, when it says with the three bodily points in the nature of three Vajra deities, this is it says that the three spots of the Guru Kalachakra are marked with three syllables, seed syllables, which are in the nature of the deities or Buddha figures. Vajra body, represented by a syllable Om, a white Om at the forehead. Vajra speech deity, symbolized or represented by a red A at the throat. And Vajra mind deity, which is represented by a blue or black Hong at the heart. And then from our own hearts, from the seed syllable at our own hearts, then we emanate Vajra Vega that goes out and goes to the various infinite pure land abodes, the Buddha lands, the pure lands, and brings in the sources of safe direction or refuge in the form of the deep awareness or wisdom beings. The Kalachakra figure, Guru Kalachakra in front that we are visualizing, is known as the closely bonding figure or commitment figure, sometimes translated. It's to make a close bond. And although there's no need, I mean, that is the actual Guru Kalachakra, there's no need to bring in anything further for that. Nevertheless, our own ordinary minds are rather gross and rough, we might think that, oh, this is just some imagined visualization that I'm making. And so to help us to gain more conviction in the purity of the visualization, then we imagine that from the Buddha fields, the deep awareness or wisdom being, Kalachakra, Guru inseparable from Kalachakra, comes brought in by Vajravega and then dissolves into the closely bonding figure, the commitment figure in front of the Kalachakra, the Guru Kalachakra, so that they become of one taste. And in this way, incorporates every source of refuge, every source of safe direction. Then, having in this way combined the deep awareness being with the closely bonding being or figure of the Guru Kalachakra, which is incorporating all the various sources of safe direction or sources of refuge, then we offer the 7-part practice, starting with prostration. And the prostration verse is as it is here in the text. And then we go on to making offerings and so on. We can imagine making prostration with our body. Of course, there's prostration with the speech and the mind. There's many details of prostration that could be added here in the commentary, but we don't really have time. Although it is not indicated here in the original text, but the way that we at Namgyal Monastery practice this is that we recite this verse for prostration 3 times. So this is something new for you to learn. So let's recite it 3 times. Respectfully, I prostrate to you, my Guru, with a trio of inseparable bodies, Dharmakaya of greatly blissful awareness, primordially fantasy-free, Sambhogakaya possessing 5, the reflexive appearance of your deep awareness, and an Nirmanakaya of lightning answers, emanated throughout the ocean of the wandering sphere. Respectfully, I prostrate to you, my Guru, with a trio of inseparable bodies, the Dharmakaya of greatly blissful awareness, primordially fantasy-free, the Sambhogakaya possessing 5, the reflexive appearance of your deep awareness, and an Nirmanakaya of lightning dancers, emanated throughout the ocean of the wandering sphere. Respectfully, I prostrate to you, my Guru, with a trio of inseparable bodies, the Dharmakaya of greatly blissful awareness, primordially fantasy-free, the Sambhogakaya possessing 5, the reflexive appearance of your deep awareness, and a Nirmanakaya of lightning dancers, emanating throughout the ocean of the wandering sphere.
다 남규 투루 지단 들어가려면 엄청 거 지겨야 되니까 거기 이거 스타팅 되는 중이고 사람하고 거기가 간고
Ale nagiven zu dem Job
투루 지단
Ale
지단 지어로
맞죠.
띵한 좀 되어있다 띵한 엄청 더 되어있다 이게 지우는 거 식상이고
그렇죠.
아니 지금에 대표적으로 진주는 그나 엄청 더 있으니까 안 되어있는
그렇죠.
어떻게 지금 거기 장전 거야 내가 인자 만드는 거예요.
그렇죠.
간단한 주스 제외나
그렇죠.
다 되는 만들고 제 간단하게 만들고 유세들이 있다. 제가 제일 딱 만들고 시샤진 도인다. 이제는 다 디오데 처바 카르피우를 했으라베는 아니 치 처바 난 상에서 에코노미 처바 처바 시트비에 그래서
그렇죠. Next, the Namgyal Monastery does not recite. There's 2 sets of 8 verses of praise. They are often included in Mother Tantra practices, but the Namgyal Monastery does not recite them. There are various reasons that Rinpoche thinks that perhaps could be the reason for this is his own ideas, he says, and this would be because if we're reciting the regular 6-session practice, then it's recited there. There's no need to recite it more than once a day. And also, if we're practicing Chakra Samvara, it's Ruka, then also we recite this as part of the daily practice, and so there's no need to repeat it again. And so for this reason, our Namgyal Monastery does not recite it, and then we go directly after the prostration verse to the verse of offerings, in which we make the outer, inner, hidden or enigmatic and thusness offerings. So of the 7-limb practice or 7-limb heart prayer, we've done the prostration, the first limb, and this is the second of those 7, the making of offerings.
삼도 가르쳐 최배제 직선다. 남주 그냥가 직선다. 아니 근데 다시 또 직선다. 그리고 보통 뭐에 선다. 그때 시 선다 사와다 따다 주서다. 아니 무슨
Then we make the 4 types of offering. The outer offerings are the offerings of objects that are not connected to our mental continuums. So we think in terms of the actual offering substances of flowers and incense and so on. We can also mentally emanate various outer offerings with which we imagine the 12 offering goddesses from Kalachakra making the types of outer offerings that each of them make of flowers and fruit and so on. These are the outer offerings. We also make the inner offering. The inner offering is the offering of various aspects which are connected with our own mental continuum. This is presented in terms specifically of the 5 types of flesh or meat and the 5 substances. These are offered in a manner in which chase away the interferences or impurities. We purify it into voidness. We transform it into nectar, and we increase it so that it never runs out. And this is represented with the seed syllables Om, Ah, Hum, and Ho, according to the full ritual. And we present all these various aspects which are connected with our mental continuums. Then in terms of the hidden or enigmatic, or sometimes translated as secret offerings, we imagine that we as a simple Kalachakra couple, likewise as are a couple in union, as is the Guru Kalachakra couple. And in this aspect, we imagine the white and red bodhicitta vital energies melting, and through the process of the 4 joys and the 4 voids, they're known as, and going through the sequence of the 4 joys and the 4 voids, we come to the clear light level of mind, but it's the clear light level of mind which is generated as a blissful awareness, and which has an awareness, a deep awareness of voidness. And so this state, which is a clear light mind, which is inseparably a blissful awareness and a discriminating awareness of voidness. So a blissful, discriminating awareness of voidness with a clear light mind, this inseparable state is what we offer with the hidden offering, with the understanding of the 4 joys and the 4 progressive voids. And then the offering of thusness is the offering of the inseparability of what we have just offered, which is taken on the wisdom side, the inseparable blissful awareness of voidness with clear light mind, offering that inseparable from the appearance aspect of this inseparable blissful void, clear light mind, with the appearance as a Buddha figure. And we offer our understanding of that in conjunction with the 4th initiation, the word initiation. So it's important to think about these 4 types of offering, the significance and so on, before making the offerings, and then we offer them. So with some understanding and thought, then we recite as follows. billowing masses of clouds of offerings, outer and under and enigmatic, both actually arrayed and created from the play of transformed concentration, and 6 pair of splendid-bodied, delightful bestowers of bliss, with lotus hands stunningly beautiful with gifts worthy of offer, such common and uncommon presents as these, as well as my body, whatever I enjoy, and the boundless source of my constructive potential, I offer to you, the mind unattached, undaunted and clear about the 3 circles involved, on my beautiful field, my kind divine Guru, that I might please you.
남서 람기 똑같이 돼야 돼. 남 그렇게 줘. 알았으나 남서 고면 기름이 다 돌리는 동작. 기름 생에 탐에 지금 나와다 셴바티 가서 쪼지 탐에 나시 가베. 근데 가야 기름 반졌다. 가서 탐에 나시 기름 반지 또. 근데 이게 지금에도 뼈도 또 그인데 탐에 김에도 탐에 뼈 많이 봐. 소스 매바 이지 공샤베 동반이기다. 대화 친구랑 신체 대동의 매개랑 신체 아니 그 메토이 파탈 야 퓨베컬이 나랑 전에 사직 저 대화 착신의 대화 계획이 왔대 근데 많이 사바메의 대화 풍수공상 대동의 매 순두비 도바진 예 송상 그 근데 지금 저 기름 문제 진짜 다 되네 나중에 해야 돼 단단히 들어봐 야외 꾸주제 야외 꾸주야 비 야외 꾸투니가 나는 꾸주야티 딱 가르쳤어. 야외 꾸투 탐에 들고 뒤통에 영화 매번 인자. 야외 꾸투 단다 동수 꾸투 간데스는 중국어를 쓰라고 중국 야외 꾸투 간데스 중국어를 쓰라고 나라서 로장 룽니가 나는 유에 룽주부티 수팀제 유디 나는 팀네 뒤에 나네 아니 동수 꾸투 샤르고 여바 인자 아니 룽주부티 천제기 샹나도 두든나도 영주과 수제네 아니 야초야 디 야구군 축제, 동수주야, 이거 축제. 다 되네 상황이 단다 가시 동시체네 명주체야 지기 가르치 신도 차에 생지기 유동반이다 유제 근데 이 신경은 예매 로직체. 산직살이야 도관매를 도제기 근데 딱 구투모 가서 그래 투동 유동반이다 유제 예매 로직이 뒤 내랭이 주지 차기 여인다 이 투주지 뒤인다 세라지시 가서 상황이 상해 쳐버티 투주지 유로단티제 다 되네 japana니 추원의 집에 쳐버티 구투모 예매 딱 나라서 있는 그 센터 유유도 카가데 레테 산지게 사 셈레 로스 엔 구스기 꿀레 로스 셈셈이 구투 카가 매웨이다 구투모 예매 구투모 예매도 간데지가 돈을 두고를 쓰라 있는데 단데 돈이 또왜 대쟁이 이시 티가랑기 두실이 중대 아니 동수 있고 어디니 이거데 뭐 차체네 미치기 민리야 다시 생기는데 분도 생기지 미치기야 민나가면 니 다시 생각 미코라 분도스나 미코라 미치기 뭐도 영화 어디나 힘체지 뭐지로 도바타들지 어딘데지 니 주지시네 야니 처바시 필요하냐 몽빨이야 기름 민제 아니 조rin을야 꾸민제 투민제 구도 순주 민제 지게 전달을 아니 대단한 같은 배기 아니 제외진 이 처바도 필요해 사람들 제비 아니 저보다 참
In making the 4 offerings, it is very important and beneficial to think on a much deeper level of what is involved with these 4 different offerings. And what's involved is that they will help us to achieve and build up the positive force for achieving the different parts of the generation and complete stage, the 2 stages of the Kalachakra practice. If we look at the generation stage, the main thing that we're doing there is purifying our clinging to ordinary appearance making, in other words, making ordinary appearances, and clinging or grasping to their true findable existence. And so in order to purify that, then we have the pure visualizations, and so we imagine that we have not just ordinary flowers that we're offering or ordinary incense or anything like that, but that these are purified into voidness, and within this state of a total absence of these impossible ways of existence, of existing, so without any appearance of true findable existence and without any grasping at true findable existence, then we generate a pure appearance of the offering substances, flowers, and incense to help us to stop this clinging to making these impure appearances and believing in them. This is the purpose of the generation stage. We offer this to the Guru Kalachakra, who enjoys this with not the ordinary tainted type of enjoyment with which we would enjoy them, which are mixed with appearances of true findable existence or grasping for that, but the Guru Kalachakra enjoys them with a untainted happiness, or sometimes called uncontaminated happiness. Then, in terms of the inner offerings, we are working to build up potentials and the positive force for accomplishing the complete stage. And here, the practices on the complete stage for generating a facsimile for a body of a Buddha, what will become a body of a Buddha. And we're not working here in the Kalachakra system with the illusory body that we would use in other Anuttara Yoga Tantras, but we're working with a devoid form. And what we want to do is to be able to dissolve the grosser levels of the body, the grosser levels of wind specifically, into the central channel, so that within the manifestation of the clear light level of mind that's gained with that dissolution of the rough energy winds of the body, we can generate the pure body of a Buddha, the aspect of a devoid form on the complete stage. And so this is represented by having our aspects of our ordinary body represented by the 5 meats and the 5 types of nectar. Likewise, their rough appearances dissolved into voidness, and then as in generating pure body from the clear light state, we generate them as nectar and offer them. So that's the inner offering in connection with the complete stage practices of devoid form, in association with the secret empowerment, as the outer offerings were in association with the vase empowerment. And then the offering, the hidden offering, or the secret enigmatic offering, what we want is to build up the positive force and causes for the complete stage practices of for the mind of a Buddha, which are done in terms of getting down to the clear light level of mind through the process of the 4 joys and the 4 voids, as was just mentioned previously, and generating that clear light mind in a nature of a blissful awareness that has an understanding of voidness, and these two being inseparable, a blissful awareness which is a discriminating awareness of voidness, and that will act as the what should we say, the main cause for achieving, the obtaining cause for achieving a mind of a Buddha, and that's in association with the discriminating deep awareness or wisdom empowerment. And then with the 4th offering, the offering of thusness, we think in terms of how we offer the final, what will ripen into the final stages, success in the final stages of the complete stage, which are to have body and mind that's separable in a Buddha. The mind and body are not separable, but are of one essential nature. In our ordinary forms, it seems as though the body is established on one side and the mind in another, but that is not the case with a Buddha. And so here we offer the understanding that body and mind are inseparable. When we think in terms of the inseparable, blissful awareness of, which is inseparable from the discriminating awareness or deep awareness of voidness, with that clear light mind, and that state itself having the appearance aspect of a body of a Buddha, this inseparable body and mind is the understanding of that, is what we offer as the offering of thusness in conjunction with the word initiation. These two are referring to, they have the same essential nature. They're referring to the same thing, just in two different aspects. Like if we have someone whose name is Tashi Punso, from one side one name is Tashi, from another side another name for the person is Punso, but both names are referring to the same person. So likewise, body and mind are referring to the same thing. That's what it means to say that they have the same essential nature. That's sometimes translated as they're one by nature, but it means that they're referring to the same thing.
That name Mandala. That mandate that can be second in the second. That the mandate to Gumadu so Renia. Ling si cherap che ti gandale ni mandawa daden to me cheje and some Gumadu. That's all the Karasna, but the Langi Brother to Machide. Karasna, Langi Brother to manage Pubi. Karasna, Sharkria, Kanitachen. Hotelia, Tima, Chantelia, Dawa, Nutelia, Tumicoyati, and the Tungo Shake Sushima Sige. The Carlson who soon to Nishido Dojishibia, Hoteleti, Nagati, the Judge, Mendetia, T. Sushi, some good, Shelter Judge, or Chantawa, looked to listen to square to send Michigan, and Lynch is that so sorry, and Girva, so that doesn't go out to the police. That Nachi, the Sunny Shake upon it. Tunda motor to Karasna, Randa, Semjay Shen and two soon to start to get all tea, that cover Pusun Sobati. That now at the major and Christianity, Nizimba, Nimbo Lambas, Mandala, Nimbo Lambas, Karim tea, and yet tea, chief and Mangi and everything, someone would Tanje, that puberty, and Sonam Toda, Ishik Tok Yons Zode. Then
we have the verse of offering the mandala. Mandalas can be offered in many forms. Here the offering is in terms of the presentation of the universe that we find in the Kalachakra system with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, and arranged around Mount Meru we have Rahu and the sun and the moon and Kalagni. The reason for these 4 is by having black Rahu in the east and then the red sun in the south and the white moon in the north and the yellow Kalagni in the west, is that these are the same colors and the same directions as the Kalachakra Mandala, and so this represents offering the Kalachakra Mandala, so it's offered in this form. And what we are doing here is that by offering the outer offer, there's outer mandala, there's an inner mandala, and so on. By offering these, we're building up the positive force for achieving the body and mind of Kalachakra. And so it is with this understanding that we make the mandala offering, that all the positive force or merit, positive potential of ourselves and others take the form of this world system in Kalachakra, representing or parallel or similar to the Kalachakra Mandala itself with its 4 colors, and we offer this to achieve the body and mind of Kalachakra for the benefit of all. And I'm sorry, this is also representing, in terms of the 4 colors, the 4 sides of the mandala, the 4 planets around it, they represent building up the causes for achieving Vajra body, well, Vajra mind, Vajra speech, Vajra body, and Vajra deep awareness. So we can recite the verse of the mandala offering. The body, speech, and mind of myself and others, whatever we enjoy, as well as our bountiful store of constructive potential from throughout the 3 times, a splendid mandala and expansive mandala offerings, I envision these all and present them to you, O my Guru, my Yira, my 3 precious gems, accepting them out of force of compassion, grant me inspiring strength. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Yariyam.
Atine, Tati Chebe Yana, Ayana Shabe Yana, Jidang Shabatan, any Cheta to any Gotuma in the Tushu Yana Sobatan, any Gotuma in the Satina, Regi, Giri, that Tumu the Tumu in the Dibeto, Kanye, but that Shabatiala, Tometuni, Tatida, Shabati, Yahuyonda, Yambo Topsi. 상해 시를 주연 샤바야 보이고요. 년부터 없이 상금에는 여러분들은 샤바야 보이는 년부터 없이 한 년부터 없이 나내게 개치시지 아니 날제를 여바체가 디 가서 샤베 에다 삼만 여바체가 타바 있어. 난 나를 체빈제 이것도 얘 뭐셔 삼바지. 이 중간에 얘 제마에는 근데 이제 삼바지 동심지야 쇼를 내고 이 가와지리야다 슈도 아니 소리시는 샤워고요. 아니 샤베기 미야가 무시고 틱탁에 토마토 주세요. 이거 같은데요. 어떻게 되냐부터 저랑 신사용 거 그러니까 말제를 요즘 쓰는 중고 있나? 아니 하마스부터랑 신을 해야 돼.
그렇죠. Then the next limb of the 7 limb practice is with the following verse, which is the verse of the open admission of our previous mistakes, sometimes called confession. And here we can think of the openly admitting the negative acts or destructive acts that we've done in general, but and also in terms of going against our vows, but also we can think specifically in going against the 25 types of tame behavior, which are specific to Kalachakra, and the root tantric vows that are also the presentation of those vows that are also specific to Kalachakra. In openly admitting them, what is extremely important is to have this complete with the 4 opponent forces. Without the 4 opponent forces, then it is not complete. It is not really constituting this open admission and purification. And of these 4 opponent forces, the most important of these is regret. We, from the depth of our heart, think of these various transgressions that we've made, and think with deep regret that these were really mistakes that I did. This was something which was at fault. It was a mistake, and we regret it deeply. If we have that force of deep regret, then the other 3 opponent forces will follow naturally from that as a side development. We will naturally not want to, if we regret it very much, we will naturally not want to repeat it, and so we rely on the basis, which is the safe direction, bodhicitta, the figure that we're in the object of safe direction before us, This is what we're relying on, and we apply opponent practices. So these other three forces will, opponent forces will follow automatically or naturally based on the most important of the four, which is regret.
That's